Previously, we discussed empty values and how to deal with those. And we used this drop NA method, which just deletes any empties. And now we're going to discuss this fillna method, in which we can keep those values and change them. And in order to begin this discussion, we're going to reinitiate our drop df data frame that we used last time. And we've already populated that with 6 empty values. And then we'll also add this 4th row of empties that we did last time. So here's the current state of our drop df data frame. With those in place, let's just use this fillna and put a 0 in each of those empty value points. That's simple enough. We can also put a 5 in there, and we can even fill it with a string. But we can also get more specific with the values that we'd like to fill. So here we're indicating which column we're targeting. In this case, we're targeting column 0, and we would like to fill any empties here with a 5. And in column 1, we'd like to fill any empties with a 6. And in column 2, we'd like to fill any empties with a 7. And in column 4, all of these will become 8s. Let's run this, and we can get a lot more specific. Now if we run drop df again, we'll see that none of those values have persisted. And so if we just put in place and set that equal to true and run this again, and then we run drop df again, now we've locked those changes into position. And maybe at this point it's good to mention why this is useful, because perhaps we're experimenting with outcomes and we don't want to modify our existing data frame until we know for sure that we've reached the outcome that we need. So we would leave in place at its default false until we're sure, and then we can use in place true once we've achieved the desirable result. Let's create another 6x3 data frame with random numbers. And then let's put some empties in there. And we'll use some indexing to do this. Remembering this comma separates rows on the left from columns on the right, and that this colon separates where we should start from where we should end. And since we've not put a value here, this is just a wildcard which says we want to affect row 2 inclusively and then every other row after. And on this side, we're telling it we only want to affect column 1. So we're going to start at column 2 right here. We're only going to affect column 1, but we're going to affect every value in column 1 after this second row. Over here we're telling it that we want to start at row 4, and this blank means everything after row 4, and this tells us we only want to affect column 2. So this will change those value points to empties, and then we can use method equals forward fill, and you'll see what happens. What forward fill has done is it's taken the first valid value and it's forward filled that value into the first empty. And why did it do that? Is because we limited the forward fill to just 1. We could limit it to 2 instead. And then it's going to take the last valid value and it's going to forward fill twice. If we take a limit out completely and run it, it's going to forward fill everything. And again, it operates by default on the 0 axis. So it's going to take the value in this row and propagate it downwards on the 0 axis. We can also use backfill rather than forward fill. We're going to need at least one valid value at the bottom of the column. Let's create a valid value that's in row 5 and column 1, and then we'll do row 5 and column 2. So let's do that. And now that we have values here, we can use fillna with the backfill method. And it's taken the 4 and it's backfilled, and also taken the 5 and backfilled as well. We can get more creative with fillna. Let's create a series here. We've got 2 empties in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to fill those with the mean. And the mean is just the average between 4, 5, and 9. Now if we add these up, this equals 18, and we have 3 values here, so 18 divided by 3, then the mean is going to be 6. So we should fill this with the average. Let's run this. And sometimes that's going to be more powerful than using some of these other methods that we've explored.